Welcome to the weekend review with the first team manager, John Gilbertson. This week we will be reviewing the first team and the reserve team game. First of all, what was your thoughts on Friday's game?
Obviously, really pleased. It was a 9-1 win for the first team on Friday, and yeah, delighted. It was a lovely sort of event, really, to be playing under the lights on a Friday night, something different for the boys, and it was really enjoyable. And obviously, that's made all the more enjoyable by getting a win and a big win as well. And I thought the lads was fantastic. I thought we started off a little bit slow the first sort of 5-10 minutes of the game, but which you would expect away from home. You expect the opponents to come at you a little bit, but felt we were comfortable. We just weren't clicking, but it took us a sort of 5-10 minutes to find our feet, and then I don't think really we looked back from that moment in then, and we were sort of in control of the game for the rest of the game, really.
What would you say was some of the things the lads done very well on Friday's game?
I mean, a few things. I think keeping it basic, passing and moving, because it's a big thing of ours, what we work on. And I think football's like it's a really easy game when you get that right. And I think the lads from goalie with Paul, I thought had a great game, even though he wasn't sort of forced to make many saves. His handling was superb, and he was starting a lot of our attacks. But playing out from the back, or when they play out from the back, whether it's through centrally or out wide, the midfield bank of four people being available, being brave on the ball, and the movement of the forwards as well. And it was I was just sort of delighted, really. It was nice, calm passages of football. That's what pleased me the most, of not rushing the attacks, taking the time and sort of playing our way into positions and not trying to force it and letting it come naturally. And then a lot of individual performances was also pleasing, as well as the team.
Was there anything you thought any people could have done better, or as a whole as a team?
No, I was really sort of pleased. Like I said, I could go through all the team, but obviously Josh is a standout performer for us on the night. Was scoring 4 goals for us, so that's obviously always headline grabbing. But right throughout the team, bit of emergency sort of change. Ben Jeffrey, who picked up an injury sort of late Thursday, which ruled him out of the game. But Dan Little coming at left back, and I thought Dan had an excellent game, getting his head up, playing the ball, being calm. Two centre halves, Josh Cleveley have come back into the side, and I thought he had a very strong game. Sam Morgan's dropped back. Right back Jack is Jack Gilbo, who's pretty much the same every game, and a really important player for us, and had a good game. But a real special shout out to the middle two of Joe Gardner and Callum, because I thought they was excellent throughout, keeping the ball, keeping it simple, moving. And then we had the threat with Billy and Josh Gilbertson out wide, which caused a lot of threat and a lot of selfless running from Ty up front, which stretched the lines and stretched the defence at time. And then Tom obviously scoring as well with his typical sort of poacher's goal from Tom. It was fantastic, really. A real strong performance all over, and I'm really pleased with everybody.
So, Josh Gilbertson, he picked up man of the match on the weekend and he scored 4 goals. Why did he have such a good game? Could you expand on that?
Well, Josh is a top player for us, and I think he's scored a lot of goals in the past. I think he's over 100 goals now for the club. So he knows how to score, but at times I don't think he's been sort of firing so much this season, and at times he's just taking it again a bit back to basics and not rushing things, not shooting when you shouldn't be shooting, and shooting when you should be shooting, more importantly. But we just worked on a few things at training, finishing with him and Tom, and just sort of reminded, I said, go stripping it back to basics about picking corners, keeping it on, and knowing when to do it. And Josh with his speed and his dribbling, picking the ball up and driving at defences is definitely his strong suit. And it's a hard one for Josh, because you stand off, he's going to beat you. If you dive in, he's probably going to beat you. And then once he gets that yard of space, it's hard to catch him. And lucky enough, it worked out Friday night that he was driving on, and some great finishes as well.
So it's obviously a good way to start the year, the 9-1 victory, and is carrying on the momentum we took into the last end of last year, obviously. Would you like to keep that going? I know it sounds a simple question, but
It is, and it is for me. I know it's a simple sort of silly question, and the basic answer is yeah. But there's more to it than that, because it's the unbeaten run that people keep talking about, and every sort of game goes by are we going to go unbeaten? But for me, none of that matters. Like I said, in terms of straight up, of course, it's pleasing to sort of be unbeaten, but the last two games of the year, if we'd have lost one and won one, we'd have had one more point on the board rather than drawing them. So it's nice, of course, to remain unbeaten, but it's looking at the bigger picture. It's about getting as many points as we can. So I'm not looking too far ahead. I think there's 10 league games to go now in the season, and I think 7 of them against the sort of top 4-5 teams in the league. So it's going to be a tough run-in for us, and we're definitely equipped to handle it, but you can't get carried away at this stage. We're back up to second and with games in hand, but it's cliche, but it's one game at a time. That's all we have to concentrate on. It's one game at a time and one performance at a time.
so the last question about the first team then. The new striker, obviously we mentioned it in the pre-match interview. He come on about half the game, just under. He scored 2 goals, and well, one of them, would you like to just explain?
Yeah, so I mean, Dan Linham joined us this week, and we know he got a good goal scoring record at sort of higher levels, and he sort of joined the club this week, and it was in the squad Friday night, and like I said, I think I brought him on with sort of 30, 35 to go, and it was pleasing to see him for the first time on the pitch, and it's 2 goals on his debut, which is fantastic. One is an absolute world-class strike, which no doubt you'll see on our channel and on social media. It's real. I mean, he's unlucky, really. Should have had a hat-trick. He come on and had a chance within the first sort of 20 seconds, and it was probably just a little bit too early for him that he went through and kicked it wide. But one spectacular goal and a clinical finish, and he's going to be a great addition to the team come sort of towards the end of the season and hopefully the promotion running. He's a nice age for us at joining the club with a bit of experience and know-how, and I'm sure he's going to be a massive asset for the club going forward. But yeah, I mean, what a way to mark your debut with a worldie, and it really was a world-class strike right in the corner. So yeah, I was delighted to see that, of course.
So moving on to the reserves versus Cosmos, I'm just going to start you with the 2 centre-halves. I mean, they played against a very good striker, Pete and James. No disrespect, they're getting on. How do you think they handled a striker of his capability?
Well, first, I mean, and it's really strange for me to be commentating on the reserves and making sort of judgment, because obviously I don't get to see them that much because we're playing at the same time. So it was really nice to be able to see their game Saturday and have a look at a couple of players, as I mentioned in the preview. And starting off, I mean, yeah, they face a striker, Tristan Plummer, which is obviously, if you know, I think he started off with City and have had sort of a career at very high levels. And I know he plays for Cosmos first team, but their game was called off, and we ended up facing quite a few first team players. So it was going to be a really, really tough match against Cosmos. And Tristan is obviously somebody of his calibre. Of course, is going to be dangerous, but you're right. Pete Dunne and Jimbo James was outstanding, and I think that's the difference. They haven't got the pace in their legs probably they once had, but what they got is bags and bags of experience and knowledge of the game, and I thought they was outstanding, absolutely outstanding as individually and as a pair. And Tristan, I mean, got on a ball in a couple of wide positions earlier on, which Josh Cleveley, in all credit, he dealt with very, very aggressively in a fair manner and was superb. And then when Tristan come in centrally, either Jimbo or Pete absolutely just stepped in and dealt with him. And I didn't think, to be honest with you, I didn't think he was that much of a threat. It was an outstanding performance from both of them, and it was a pleasure to see. Because I said they was really used every bit of experience and know how to manage what would be a top striker, and credit to them, because I said they was superb.
So, what would you say was one of the most pleasing things about the performance versus Cosmos?
I think first and foremost, I think it was a very tough game, a difficult game as it was, without facing sort of first team players. What was in there, and I think they stood up for the challenge and didn't sort of wilt any sort of to any pressure of what was coming on their way, first of all. And like I said, they got themselves into the game and was starting to attack more as the first half went on. And for me, I think it's a new team and it's new players coming together, and it's a struggle at times when you've got so many new players. And I've seen them a couple of games in pre-season and earlier on, and you could see they're sort of coming along nicely. And this was the first game I've seen of them for a while. And what impressed me was their ability, I said, to get the calmness again, like the first thing, get the ball down, know when to play, when it needed to go, when it needed to be played short, and yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with them, and I think there's sort of big things to come with the reserves over the coming remainder of the season and next season as we grow and add to that squad. But it was what I would say a typical game of sort of two halves. I think they had with the sort of opponents edged it first half, and had more of the ball. Although I thought we was incredibly dangerous on the break, and I thought we had a few chances ourselves in a bit better quality with a through ball or a bit of movement, and I think would have been in ourselves. And fortunately enough, we found ourselves sort of 1-0 up at half time. What I think helped us definitely in the second half, I think that our opponents, I think they changed formation, and I thought that added a little bit of control to our midfield, and I thought we was totally in control second half, and went sort of 2-1, 2-0, 2-1 with a penalty, which was hard to say if it was a penalty or no. Immediately, which is a perfect response straight from kickoff, we went 3-1 back up, then it went 3-2, and then we had a penalty ourselves to make it 4-2, and I think absolutely thoroughly deserved the win. But credit to all the players there, and there was a lot of unselfish work. Joel up front and Dino and Ty, they've done so much running and work for the team to be able to get in positions. And yeah, I thought we really controlled the second half, and I didn't think we looked in any danger at all, even though at times the scoreline was probably a bit closer than it should have been. But yeah, I was really impressed with the boys, and I thoroughly deserved their 4-2 win, and congratulations to them all, because I said it was a top performance.
So, as a whole, I think is a very good way to start the year for Bristol United then.
Fantastic, yeah. I mean, to get 6 points on the opening, the sort of delayed weekend, yeah, and it was great, and seeing both teams scoring goals and being able to sort of get to 2 games. Hopefully, it'll set us up nicely going into the second half of the season. But yeah, you're right, absolutely, a thoroughly enjoyable weekend.
Well, let's hope it continues, and thank you for your time.